everybody to my Wednesday coffee chat with Jen. Welcome to my coffee chat. I host these coffee chats every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in my free group on Facebook as well as on Instagram. And I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you more about anxiety. So for those of you that are just joining or maybe new to me, my name is Jen and I've transitioned from being a physical therapist for 20 plus years in healthcare to life coaching after battling like burnout and overwhelm for so long in the healthcare industry. I hired a life coach, had an amazing transformation, and then became certified myself so that I can help women, especially people pleasers, procrastinators, kind of break those patterns to put themselves back on their priority list. So in a nutshell, I kind of help you go from hot mess express to calm and confident and knowing that you can handle whatever life throws at you. So I'm so excited that you're here. Um, and you're here today to talk about anxiety. So anxiety is one of those areas that I always get questions about. It's something that always comes up in my free complimentary Calm Your Chaos calls that I do and I offer, that people are battling anxiety. I hear it from my friends all the time. I hear it from my clients in my mastermind all the time. It's one of the things that we work on all the time with our coaching. And it's because we're constantly being bombarded with in society and with this world, right? And there's all these stressors out there, there's all these notifications, there's all these messages to keep up, to do more, you're not enough, and it really causes us to live in this like anxious state that can really be detrimental to our overall well-being and health. So I'm glad you're here. My battle with anxiety started years and years ago when I first hired my life coach. I guess, gosh, I don't know, early 40s. I'm 50 now. And what that looked like for me is that I would wake up almost every morning, anywhere between 3:30 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. and have to pee. I would get up and I'd go pee, get back in bed, and immediately my mind was racing. It was racing about worrying about money, how we're going to pay the bills, where the next, where the next revenue stream was coming from, how we're going to pay for volleyball, how we're going to pay for college for my son who was only 10 at the time. My massive to-do list, how I'm going to get my business off the ground. Like my mind was just spiraling. And for those of you that suffer from anxiety, probably understand that. So when I talk about like the spiral, like your mind just keeps spiraling and you can't quiet it down. So that I couldn't get back to sleep, right? So then lack of sleep kind of let this bully brain take over and the anxiety just kind of kept building. So that's kind of my anxiety story. For one of my clients, her anxiety was so bad that sometimes she had to go to the ER because her family, like she would enter more of a panic attack and her family wasn't sure how to help her. So they would panic and they took her to the ER. And after her last ER visit is when she hopped on a Calm Your Chaos call, a free call with me. And I kind of walked her through how I could help. And now, like things like life is throwing her some really challenging things, and she's able to navigate it with still some anxiety, but not the overwhelming panic attacks and the level of anxiety that she had before. Because let's be real, in today's world, it's going to be very hard to be completely anxiety free with all the stressors that we have on our plate and all the things that are going on in the world. But there's some things that I want you to know. So first and foremost, like anxiety is a natural response to stress. It can be beneficial in some situations, like preparing for a presentation or responding to a danger. Okay, there's different types of anxiety. There's generalized like anxiety disorder. There's social anxiety. There's panic disorder. And there's differences between those. There's also different triggers to anxiety. Sometimes people's anxiety are triggered by lack of sleep, brain chemistry, genetics, personality, life events. Triggers can be things like work, stress, family issues, financial worries, healthcare concerns. All of those things can lead to anxiety. And then anxiety can really have an impact on your daily life. Like you can have physical and emotional symptoms of anxiety. You can have the racing heart. You can have the fast heart rate. I was at a volleyball game tournament this weekend and saw a player going into a panic attack. And it looked like her getting like hot and sweaty. Like every time she would get the ball, she was making a mistake. I could see herself like getting upset with herself. She'd come back to the bench and her chest would be heaving, like she could not catch her breath. It looks different for everybody. For me, I couldn't get back to sleep. For some people, you might not be able to get to sleep. And anxiety can take its toll. Like as the anxiety and stress builds, it can lead to like cardiovascular concerns. Anxiety can also affect your relationships. It can lead you to kind of be more avoidant, and just avoid certain situations. It can cause overthinking. That was me for sure. It can cause difficulty in making decisions. That was me for sure as well. It can also affect your personal and your professional life. So if your anxiety gets so bad that it's kind of flowing into your professional life and you're unable to make decisions and you're somebody that has to make decisions pretty quickly, you can see how that would impact your professional life as well. And this cycle of anxiety just kind of keeps going and going, right? It can lead to physical symptoms and which can reinforce more anxiety. It's a vicious cycle. So there's a couple of myths out there about anxiety that I also wanted you to be aware of. Anxiety is just being worried or stressed. Anxiety is more persistent and intense feeling than everyday worry and stress. Myth number 2 is anxiety means you're weak. This is not the case at all. Anxiety is very common. It's a very common mental health condition, and it does not reflect any sort of physical, mental, or emotional weakness. Myth number 3, anxiety can be eliminated by willpower alone. While mindset and self-care are important, anxiety often requires some professional support, whether it's from a therapist, a counselor, or a coach, and very structured strategies, which is what I help my clients with for sure. So let me give you some. Let me give you some practical tools and techniques. And at the end of this, well, I can share a little bit now. Over the past several months, I've been creating this amazing series of anxiety tools for you. So if you comment anxiety wherever you're watching this, whether it's in my Facebook group or here in my DMs, replying to a newsletter or on YouTube, if you comment anxiety, I will send you a link so that you can start getting all of these anxiety resources. Some of the ones that we're going to talk about here, like breathing exercises and mindfulness. There's a really simple technique that I actually helped this volleyball player with this weekend called box breathing. If you're not familiar with box breathing, it's really simple. You can also Google it, but a very simple description is you're going to inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and repeat it. So you can imagine you're drawing inhale, hold, exhale, hold. And you can imagine drawing a square as you inhale, hold, exhale, hold. And if 4 seconds is easy, then you can stretch it to 5 or 6 seconds. If 4 is hard, start with 3. Okay. There's also another great technique called 4-7-8. My husband uses this a lot, and so do my kids. You inhale for 4, hold for 7, and then exhale for 8. Okay. When you exhale longer than you inhale, it really calms down your nervous system. Okay. So you may hear the term out there, I need to regulate my nervous system. I need to calm down my nervous system. That's just making your body and your brain feel safe in your body. Okay. It's making your brain realize that you are safe, you are okay, and it will allow it to get out of that fight or flight response. Grounding techniques are great too. So grounding techniques could be simply something like a 5-4-3-2-1, and that's just being mindful of things around you using your senses, right? So 5 things you see. I may get some of these out of order, but 5, you can Google it. 5-4-3-2-1 mindful exercise. But in a nutshell, it's 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Okay, so really kind of bringing in your senses will bring you back into the present moment, help your body feel safe. One of my favorites is journaling. And I really just teach my clients to do a brain dump. So anything that's coming through your mind, especially in the morning or at night, whenever your anxiety is worse, just write it all down. Get it out of your brain. Okay, just journal. There's no perfect way to journal. If you need a suggestion for starting to journal, I love the 5-minute journal on Amazon. It gives you some prompts so that you can just kind of get started. But to keep it simple, just brain dump everything that's in your mind at night and in the morning or whenever your anxiety is worst. And then the last thing is healthy habits. And I talked about this on my last live, really supporting your body, eating well, sleeping well, hydrating well, doing those things like reducing caffeine, doing some things that you know can lower your stress, going for walks, getting outside. All of those are going to help reduce your anxiety, which is why they're such an integral part of what I help my clients with from the get-go when they join me as a private client or in a group coaching environment. Also, the importance of community and support, right? Oftentimes as women, we feel like we have to suffer alone. We have to kind of withdraw from our friends or from our groups and go suffer with this anxiety alone. But I'm here to tell you, as a life coach, as a physical therapist, as a woman who has battled anxiety herself, leaning into your community, leaning into support is really going to help you get through and learn more about your anxiety more quickly. That's why I love my mastermind program. because we've really created such a culture of support, a culture where you can be vulnerable and share what's going on and just feel the love and support around you and know that you're not alone. But often when we're hurting, when we're suffering from anxiety, our first inclination is to withdraw. Okay, I'm going to challenge you to get uncomfortable and lean in, and just ask for support. Even if you don't share what's going on, just reach out to a friend and say, I just need some support right now. I'm struggling, right? And then it's up to you to share what you're struggling with, or they'll respond with, I've got you. What can I do to help? Do you need to talk? Okay. Don't be scared to ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength and you wanting to improve the situation. Okay. And we're better together. I promise. So a couple of long-term strategies is really setting boundaries. I'm not going to go into this right now because setting boundaries is like a huge thing that I talk about and teach with my clients. But just setting boundaries in a way that reduces your anxiety to prevent overcommitting to things and burnout. Okay, so we often want to like say no and give a reason, but you don't have to. If you can't commit to going to the party this weekend, just say thanks for thinking of me, but we're already busy, or we already have plans, right? You don't have to go any further than that. Or just thanks for thinking of me, but I can't come. So often we want to give a reason to make the other person feel more comfortable, and oftentimes they're fine just knowing you can't come. They just want to include you. Managing your time and being organized definitely helps reduce anxiety. Okay, so I know that when I have planned out my next morning and I've done everything that I can, get the dog food ready, get the coffee ready, get my clothes picked out, know what my schedule is the next day, like my day goes better, right? Because I'm organized. When you manage your time and you're not showing up late, and giving yourself like just a nanosecond to get there, that can build anxiety, right? So manage your time, stay organized as much as you can. And then creating a self-care routine. For any of you that follow me for any length of time, you know I'm huge with self-care. Self-care is not selfish, it's actually self-preservation. Like meditation can really help. Any hobbies just to kind of give your brain something to focus on, and relaxation techniques to maintain balance. YouTube has a wealth of information on breathwork techniques, different meditation, different relaxation techniques, and it's free. Um, and then I really just wanted you to help practice like self-compassion. This is another biggie for me and my clients, is just be kind to yourself, right? We live in a very imperfect world right now with lots of things going on, lots of things being thrown at us. And I just want you to be compassionate and show yourself some love and support and give yourself what you really need. Like just take a pause in your day and see, what do I need today? What do I need today to feel safe? What do I need today to feel loved? What do I need today to feel worthy? What do I need to like just make it through the day? And sometimes that's a walk, right? Sometimes that might just be a cup of tea alone. Sometimes that might just be a meditation. Sometimes it might be breath work or taking a couple of deep breaths. Sometimes it might be a girls' night. Like you just need to get away. You need to change things up. Focusing on personal growth really help manage your mind. Like if you're walking in the morning or you're exercising, make sure you're not just watching the news, or some binging on something on Netflix. Really take the time to fill your mind with something that's going to grow your mindset, something that's positive, a positive like podcast or something to help you move forward in a positive way. And then just celebrate your wins. This is another big one that I always encourage people to do, is at the end of the day, take a minute to journal your wins, right? Just journal down like what went well that day. You know, sometimes I have to really dig deep, and it's something as simple as I didn't like yell at my teenage kids, right? That was a win for the day. Other days it will be something like I helped guide a client through a really difficult trigger response during our coaching session today, and that made me feel very successful to help her through that. And other days it's I didn't yell at my teenage kids, right? So celebrate yourself, celebrate the wins, take care of you, really lean into some of these anxiety tools that I have shared with you today. Also, if you're interested and you love this topic, you want to learn more about anxiety and managing your anxiety, just comment anxiety wherever you're watching this from, and I will send you a quick message with a link. The link is going to go to a form so I can get your email. And the email is going to be a series of emails because I have so many great resources I've been building over the years about anxiety, and I want you to have access to all of them. The first one you're going to get is my 11 tips to battling anxiety. The second one is my 10 favorite tools to help you with anxiety. And then I think there's another email with tapping. So emotional freedom technique like tapping, and guiding you through a tapping session to reduce your anxiety. So again, comment anxiety wherever you're watching this from if you want to get those resources. And thank you so much for joining me today, and have an amazing day.